You don't live under a rock. You heard the news. Trump got shot at, whatever you want to call it. All the pictures came out. All the memes came out. I'm pretty certain by now a bunch of shirts are already out there with all these different poses and people making a lot of money. But what I was worried about were the hot takes. I specifically said I can't wait for the 20-year-old white women to give me all the great hot takes about this. And they came a-flooding.
I think we forgot to mention when we were asking for, someone to bring back assassinating presidents like they used to, we forgot to mention that they have to have good aim. Remember, genies are tricky that way. I do want to take a second because I posted this video and made this joke minutes after I heard about it. Articles were like 22 minutes into being posted about it. The news just broke, and now more news is coming out that apparently someone was. This is a tragedy. The extremes in this country are terrifying, and I don't like to fearmonger, they just are. The joke was made quickly and in haste, and I do stand by my opinions about the candidates relating to that joke. However, I am not intending to be insensitive to anything else going on with this. We shouldn't have to have this happen. We shouldn't have the candidates we have. We should not be in this predicament. Desperate people do desperate things, and people are going to get hurt because of that. People are already being hurt.
John Wilkes Booth, if you can hear us, if you are with us, please, John Wilkes Booth, if you're listening, please.
We're not even sending our best to fucking assassinate. Cause what the hell was that? Lee Harvey Oswald would never, bitch. John Wilkes Booth would never.
Today was like this close to being the best day ever.
As well as you saw
he's clip farming harder than the new crop of FaZe talent. He's like FaZe Ronaldo. He's clip farming harder than Jinxie. He keeps throwing up his fucking fist.
Been at many of these Trump rallies, and here's a
over.
picture from one of our colleagues there on the ground, the photojournalists who are in the front row showing the blood on.
But we're not worried about the white women right now because there was one take out there that was really interesting to me, and it had to do with the skin color of the shooter. Because when something like this happens, whether if it's a regular mass shooting, a school shooting, or a shooting in general, we all want to know the race, the sexuality, the gender, because we just want to all fixate on that instead of potentially solving the various problems. And then once we get that information, we just all go away and wait for the next mass shooting to care about, or the next shooting to care about, or the next school shooting to care about. So when this take came about, you could imagine I was a little bit annoyed.
I was just on the phone with my grandma. She called me and she was like, "Did you hear that somebody tried to shoot at Trump?" And I was like, "Yep." And we were talking about it because she was watching the news actively. And I was like, I just really, really hope, because she was the person who broke the news to me that a person had been unalived and that the shooter was also unalived. And I was like, I just really hope that the shooter is white. Like, I hope that the shooter is white. Because even if the shooter is white and some hyper leftist with manifestos and all kinds of stuff, at least they're white. If the shooter is brown or black, it becomes open season on black and brown folks in a way that is universally accepted in this country and has been accepted in this country for a long time, but will be politically justified and motivated by the attempted assassination of a former president. So, there's a lot of implications and things to unpack from this moment, and one of them is the possible racial reckoning surrounding the reality of the race of the person who pulled the trigger. So once again, I agree with this commenter. I hope that the shooter was white. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Two things. Number one, the shooter was white and is dead. So basically it's over with. And I don't see anybody hunting down a bunch of four-eyed looking strong chin anime nerds with weak bodies and disproportion. It doesn't happen. And I would like a statistic of the here and now, not back when the KKK was running the show, not back when Jim Crow was the main antagonist. Now, in current 21st century, 2000, maybe 2010s and 2020, where you got a black person on the run for being a mass shooter and people just randomly decide, hey, let's start hunting down a bunch of black people. Don't give me all the negative connotations and the weird stereotypes, because guess what? Every group everywhere got a stereotype. The white people are incest babies, the black people are thugs. The stereotypes are always gonna be there. So give me something in the here and now where a black person is identified as the criminal that's on the run and we start hunting down other black people. I know that people will falsely accuse a transgender who wasn't even in the same state, but we've already dealt with that. So give me the statistic of the here and now, please. I don't understand how somebody could possibly think to themselves that someone else out there wanting to do something means that everybody else is gonna start hunting down black people. I'm sorry, I don't live in fake Black Panther world, but if one person who I don't know, who just so happens to share my skin color, is out there doing criminal activity, I don't know how to break it to any of y'all. That got nothing to do with me. Why? I don't know them, I don't know what they look like, nor do I care about anything going on in their life. The only thing we got in common is probably what's between our legs and the skin color. That's it. Nothing else could correlate here. So when you worried about, oh my God, I just hope it's not a black person because it's gonna lead to all these issues for black people. No, it's gonna lead to an issue for one individual, no matter if they're black, white, male, female, gay, straight, transgender, eyes wide, eyes slanted. Don't matter. It's gonna lead to one issue, somebody getting capped. And in this example of some weird looking white scrawny dude, he got capped and he's done for. He got nothing else to live for except he got popped, and his only saving grace, the only thing he will be remembered for, is allowing Trump to have one of the most American type pictures on the face of the earth. But let's get back to the main problem. I understand that y'all have these lenses where y'all think the black people do no wrong in 400 years. We was just talking about this in one of the last videos, how they got these people out here who got these blinders for black people, and you ignore all the bad and you want to pretend like the only thing going on is slavery, segregation, and automatically everybody owns a black business. That's your levels of black history. But see, me, I understand that in this world, they got bad people all around that share skin colors with all these different people. Is that an allegory or a representation of everybody else? No, it's a representation of that one stupid motherfucker who decided to do one stupid thing. Don't try to lump me in to what somebody else is doing. And if you want to play that game, oh so simply, we can. Just know, you with 4 eyes, me with this weird looking afro type hair that's also a mullet on the side, just know one thing. If you want to try to hope that a shooter is black and somehow that affects you, I got some bad news for you about any other example that you don't pay attention to, because in your mind, you're the victim always, but in reality, they got people out there that's tweeting from iPhones about shit and trying to make it all make sense. And the reality is, when you do that, you often don't make any fucking sense.
In the video that this comment is on, I was talking about, at the time, the suspected shooter, we had no idea who it was. And just hoping for the sake of people of color that the person who was identified was not a person of color. In part because of this. When a white person does something, a white person did something. When a black person does something, black people have done it. When an Arab person does something, Arab people have done it. If a Hispanic person does something, then everyone in the Caribbean and Central and Latin America, all the way out to possibly Spain, is judged for the actions of that person. And so in this particular case, the details have come out about the shooter, that they were a 20-year-old cishet white male. And now that we've dispensed with that, I want to circle back to this is not okay. This is not good. And I'm not one of those creators who's on here going, this is bad for political reasons because of the impact on the election. We have been trending toward political violence for way too long. We came through an era of respectability politics, but I mean, whether it was Senator Gifford from Arizona or Steve Scalise at the congressional baseball game or Nancy Pelosi's husband, we're starting to see this trend upward, and it's not good for anybody involved. And this is the part that I wish we could collectively do. I wish we could collectively do the nuanceical thing of, I don't want to see what happened yesterday, and I'm glad that Trump is okay. And also, I will work to support candidates or support Joe Biden as a candidate to defeat Donald Trump in November at the polls. And it's amazing we have to get to that level of detail now in describing this. And it's scary. I'm already probably got to like unlink my Instagram from here because I've had people already showing up in my comments of random videos talking about my kids. So, and I maintain, as I've maintained this entire time, violence is wrong. Yesterday was a horrible day. I'm glad that more details are coming out, and I hope that we can get through the remainder of this election and the remainder of American history without political violence, because it's never a good thing. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Until it was revealed who the shooter was, there was a narrative that was being pushed on right-wing Twitter and in right-wing media spaces that the left tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Now, I'm so glad that nothing happened to Donald Trump, and I am heartbroken for the lives that were lost at that rally. No one deserved to be unalive in that space. I'm so glad that Trump is safe, and I hope nothing like this happens at any other point during this election season or in his life ever. Because at the end of the day, that was wrong. Political violence is wrong. And the only group of people who are advocating for violence right now are the right. They're the ones who are saying, liberals, you guys should be so glad that we aren't in the middle of a second or a civil war, second American Revolution, as the president of the Heritage Foundation said, that it would be bloodless if the left allows it. Today, I have had multiple people either comment on my TikToks or go over my Instagram and comment and threaten me. Like, one person commented, I reported the comment on TikTok, and TikTok did nothing about it. Had I used that comment, by the way, at the beginning of this video, TikTok probably would have taken my video down. They said, I better watch myself because when the right pews, they don't miss. And then said, you have children, take that into consideration. So I reported it because that's a threat. Also, people have been going over my Instagram. I feel like every half hour or so I'm having to delete and block folks on Instagram. We're going over there to tell me I'm a horrible person. That is what it is. The only people who are advocating for violence, the only people who are advocating for revolution, the only people who are advocating for civil war are the right. Political violence is wrong. And yesterday was not a justification for more violence. Yesterday was like the luckiest. If that was going to happen, if that incident was going to happen, we are all better off for the fact that Trump is okay. Because that type of violence is wrong. And so I just want to say that out loud as I'm just trying to navigate accordingly. Violence is wrong. Threatening people is wrong. And there's only one group of people who are making these threats or who are advocating for that violence. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. You know what? This is a very fair point. There are people who are making content around the concept of like, how did you miss? And that is wrong. Because political violence is wrong. So yes, that is an absolute fair point. I do want to make a distinguishing marker or delineation between these two things. One group of people is saying this thing happened and I cannot believe that it landed that way. And they are wrong for doing that. Another group of people has been waiting for this moment, has been stoking these fears, has been talking about what it would look like to be able to enact that. If you talk to any serious conservative and really get them going, they will start to spew at you these fantasies they have about being able to enact the Second Amendment against the government. And so there is a delineating mark there, and people who are making that type of content is wrong. Like, both of those things can be true. And so thank you for making that point, because I don't want to make it seem like that's okay, because that's not okay.
But in the meantime, I hope Trump ends up all right. I saw people saying he was going to end up at a UFC event, which arguably enough probably would have been some badass shit, like you bleeding from your ear and everybody concerned about your health and you just pop up to watch dudes fight each other. I ain't gonna lie, you wouldn't be able to stop people from glorifying that. Yeah, all these other hot takes are variously stupid, and all these people who always want to pretend to be sincere always seemingly turn into edgelords when it's people that they disagree with politically. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't want either one of these old bastards shot, because I don't need these conversations going around, because just let them go through this really weird political process. Let them get on your nerves. Let them say all these things. Let them stare into the sunlight and just let it all happen. Because at the end of it, somebody's going to win. Somebody gonna lose, one side gonna celebrate, the other side gonna claim somebody cheated. I told y'all it was gonna be a wild ride to the election with all these different takes. I didn't expect anybody to get shot. But let me know, are you for Biden? Are you for Trump? Do you care? Do you not care? Do you think if a black person shoots the president, I'm somehow going to die because all the white people are gonna come after me for something I didn't do? And I will see you in the next one. Subscribe. Mwah. Goodbye.